and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. Hello, Ira. Hello, Corey.
Hello, Jeff.
What's up, boys? We're all in the studio. Feels good.
Does feel good.
Did y'all miss me last week?
We did.
Was it a good show without me?
I mean,
it was a great show.
Oh, okay. All right. That hurts.
But I don't think that differs from how good a show it would be if you two did it and I wasn't here.
You don't believe that?
Yeah.
No way you believe that.
We're pros.
Okay.
We're all
right.
pros here, and we've learned how to do this thing. We'd rather all three of us be here.
And if one was going to be missing, probably me. I got it. I understand.
Nobody said that.
The thing is, when we put this team together, we went for versatility.
We did.
Like Tony White defense. We wanted guys who could play different positions, different looks.
I like that that's where you're going with that. And with that, I'll say, yay, sausage.
Man, July 4th, there's no better time for register sausage, is it?
That's true.
As Stephanie pointed out in the group text to you, though, the Publix by my house is really, really struggling with its register sausage.
What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it quick.
We've spent years. We've spent years expressing the need for the people to rise up.
It's ridiculous. Their selection is ridiculous. They have registered sausage, but not all the
minimally.
As minimal as you could have and say you carry it. And I just don't understand it. Or maybe they were completely out, but they need to get more.
Could have been a rush for the 4th.
Yeah.
That's it, especially now. You're right. Yeah, this could be the possibility. It just sold out. It's so popular and tasty.
Delicious. And you can get it at the Corner Pocket, as you said.
Yeah. Had some last night.
Did you really?
Yeah, I love those things, man. They do it great at Corner Pocket, the register sausage bites.
But Monday night sausage. How about that?
That's how I do.
I'm not sure our guys at registers can have it delivered by the 4th. If you order it today, it might be a little dicey. But if you go to your local grocery store, if you're in this part of the country, they should have it. They may not have all the SKUs. We'll see, but you can try the different SKUs. It's the lingo.
Yeah, we got it.
I think that's the first you've used it on this show.
No, you used it a couple of weeks ago. Because you even said it. You're like, oh, you're using the lingo now.
Oh, okay. I've forgotten already. That's dangerous.
Try to block it out.
Yeah.
But you can get it also at registermeats.com and have it delivered. It may come after the 4th at this point. But if you're in this part of the country, go to your local grocery store. If they don't carry it, ask them to carry it. Like Corey's going to do at his store. Ask them to expand their offerings. But we recommend all of the different varieties. I like the spicy ones and the jalapeno cheddar, but the plains solid gold
jalapeno cheddar.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with any of them, especially on July 4th. Bringing in where are we? 249 years old, about to be.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's correct.
We got 250 coming next year. All right, I wanted to start the show off with a question.
I'm so old. I remember the bicentennial.
I bet you do, 76, man. I bet you do. Yeah. You were what, 8th grade?
I was like 6.
Five. So today is the first day, technically, that schools can pay athletes out of their own budget, right? July 1st.
Can I do this before you start?
No, I'm already on a roll.
I'm going to do this.
Okay,
before you
great.
start. Let me just say, it's going to make you feel better. And then you can get into whatever gross college football subject there is to get into.
This was going to be dovetailed with that. Yeah, sort of. No, it's going to be a question about. So there is a signing day in December, but let's say Florida State's in on this defensive lineman right now. I don't know his name, but he's like a top 50 player in the country.
Rankins.
Will Fong from On 3 just predicted would come to Florida State, and if they got him, then you're really looking at a top 10 class. But could they not give Devin Carter in that quarterback a contract right now with money?
Yeah, I don't know the details, man.
But doesn't it seem like that would be something now that you can pay athletes? Wouldn't you be able to pay those athletes to come to your school? And if you've done that, isn't that signing day? So I know so many people are worried about, what if Florida State goes 6-6 or 5-7? You're going to lose out on all these guys. Crews. But if they've signed a contract to play for your school next year, I would assume the contract will be written where it's binding.
So, I guess my question is, are you asking a hypothetical, or do you think this is really happening? Because I don't think this is really happening.
So so they're not happening until they get on campus. You can't pay
I believe so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. But it's got to be part of your budget. That's why I was wondering if that will become a thing where you pay these kids, you give them their money to come to your school, because you have a budget, you can pay however you want to do it. And then if you paid them in August, that's their signing day. You know what I'm saying? Like they're contractually obligated to play for you.
In the future, though, when you want to bring these things up, ask me ahead of time and I'll try to find out the answer, because I have no idea.
I didn't know we were doing a show until 10 minutes ago. I didn't know y'all were going to walk into the lobby. I was worried that I had made it by mistake.
What I was going to say.
Okay, sorry. Let's go.
Was
Feels like a fair question for the future, though. Like
it is,
yeah.
but you won't. I don't know.
Well,
I think National Signing Day could become irrelevant if these guys are signing contracts.
Signing Day has always felt a little irrelevant since the thing has shifted as the way it has now. I mean, anyhow, it's July. Today is July. They play football in August.
Yeah.
Better
Just
point.
say that out loud.
Yeah, we're getting close.
It's July.
It's barely July, it's
July.
late August, but I got the point.
They play football in August.
Yep.
Just say it out loud over and over again today while you're driving around. We're in July. They play college football in August.
Next month, college football starts.
That's all you got to say. That will cheer you up every second of every day from this point forward. It's July. They're playing football in August. And it's July. We'll be in Charlotte together real soon.
Yeah, just a couple of
3
3
weeks. 3 weeks, yeah.
Are you mentally prepared for it? Because I feel like this is as now. Listen, we had no idea what we were going to experience last year. Obviously from our predictions, we
were very excited about
what was going to happen. But I actually feel like this year I have zero idea as well, and I had greater certainty last year. I was wrong, but I had greater certainty going into July last year than I have this year. I have no idea. They could be really good. They could suck again. Not 2-10 suck. But I don't really know what to make of this team. And it's going to be hard to know because obviously we've all learned a lesson from last year. But college football is changing, so is the roster. So I know it's going to be fascinating. I think week to week, the classic gut feeling shifts all the time. Like there are weeks where I'm just driving around thinking they're going to be really good. I really like the decisions that they've made. I think this is going to be ideal. And then other times I'm like, they're just not talented enough. They're going to be a year or two away from being any kind of threat to anything. And it changes all the time based on whims, based on nothing. They're not doing anything right now. But I mean, just like, I think it's that kind of up and down, whatever side of the bed you roll off of to start the week.
I mean, I think part of it is if you look at the empirical data, if you look at the numbers that a lot of these guys have put up in their previous schools, they should be pretty good, man. Like, especially offensively. Deuce Robinson and Squirrel White, Randy Pittman. I mean, I think that's a good nucleus of guys that can go catch the football and make plays. They've done it before.
And you've got a 1,000-yard rusher at quarterback. You've got another guy that ran for 5 straight 100-yard games at running back.
Yeah, and so you've got some experienced offensive linemen that were not guys who just only played for Alex Atkins. So there's a lot of reasons to feel like, okay, but we also did sit through last season. And so that's what makes it impossible to really just embrace this team. So, yeah, we're all in the same place. And honestly, I don't even know if the coaches know. I mean, I think that they feel good about some of the decisions they made, and I think they feel good about the potential. But because they had so many injuries in the spring, they can't really know exactly what they have either.
Isn't there some cool momentum though? Like, in it, we still go back and forth, and I really don't know how to process what recruiting rankings mean anymore. But what they are doing recruiting wise, coming off 2-10, is very, very impressive. I don't know if it means more money is being. I would assume it has to be more money is going to the high school recruits, but I think that gives you some positive momentum going into July that you're really on the border of a top 10 class. You've got a better class right now than like Alabama and a lot of other schools. You're 10th or 11th in the country coming off 2-10. That's impressive. That's unprecedented.
I think the hard part, and I agree, it beats the hell out of the alternative. If you were sitting there 48th, you'd be miserable. But I do know that the caveat to that is what everybody says 2 seconds after they say, hey, we're top 10. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you gotta have a season.
Not if they're signing those contracts I was talking about earlier. Then they're locked in.
Works,
they're locked in, gang.
It's very much where they were a year ago. I mean, if you go back
to
a year
ago, oh, okay.
If you go back to this time a year ago, but that's the whole thing. It wasn't, and that's where I push back a little bit on social media because people rip Mike Norvell as a bad closer. No, man, they were 2-10. That had nothing to do with how well he closes or how poorly he closes. Now they have lost some guys on signing day. We all know those stories.
Travis Hunter would have been nice. Can we admit that
nice.
Travis Hunter would have been nice, and KJ Bolden would have been probably a boost to the secondary,
and the defensive end that went to Auburn. So I mean that all happened. But last year they had a class that I remember at the time thinking they might have a top 5 class if they just had a good season because they were in such good position. They had the best receiver class in the country. They had a lot of big time guys. But once you're whatever they wanted to start, what were they to start the year? When did they
1-4,
1-4, whatever it was to start the year?
They're 1-3, and then they were driving down the field against SMU. I don't know if you guys remember. Right. Only down 14-9. I shouldn't say driving. They're starting a drive. Tight end's wide open, going to be a 25, 30-yard game.
It's a toughie.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden SMU has the ball at year 5, and the season is over.
And Jordan Travis is still defending. That was
random but cool. He's a good teammate.
But yeah, I mean, I think that if that team didn't fall apart on the field, that class probably doesn't fall apart. So I do think that this class can stay together as long as they have success on the field.
That's
the
whole thing.
Bottom line.
They got to win games. It's now that the importance of June has risen to a place that it didn't used to. You can get excited in June, but you all know that it's all predicated on whether or not you win the game.
I think we can't lose sight of the fact that last year they were coming off when they had a top 10 class at this time. They were coming off a 13-0 ACC championship. This year they're coming off 2-10. Like that, you don't put together classes like that, even in June now we're in July. You don't put classes together like this off 2-10. On the same token, who the F goes 2-10? Nobody ever. Nobody in the Power 5 wins 2 games ever. Right. So this is unprecedented both ways. But I think it does say something about this current staff, and maybe the priority that maybe high school recruiting is taken. That you are now, you've got 12 4-stars.
Yeah,
well, maybe finish with 13 or 15 if you go finish with 8 or 9 wins.
Well, and the question that I think some of us had at the end of last season, because of the way we saw Mike Norvell look on the field, on the sidelines. You started to wonder, okay, is he going to be able to regain the charisma, the spirit, the swagger that a head coach needs to have to go recruit? Because, man, you just got punked. I mean, going back to even the Georgia game, the Orange Bowl game, after that, you talk to people around the program, they're like, man, Mike Norvell is shaken by what just happened in that Georgia game. He never expected them to just get destroyed.
Brutalized.
And so that affects you. Then you go out there and have the worst season in school history, or one of the worst seasons in school history. And
the worst.
Well, they had a winless.
Come on, man. That was 1970 something, 2, 3,
and they hadn't established as
yes. No, I got you, but statistically, it's not the worst. But it's an all-time terrible season. You wonder, okay, how's he going to sell? How's he going to go into recruits' homes or bring people in and convince them that he knows the answers? And I think what it speaks to is, one, they've done a good job, I think, of flipping the staff. You do have some coordinators that have a track record who have been good recruiters, and I think that's paying off. But yeah, man, it is impressive. It is impressive where it is right now, but I understand everybody who wants to say, yeah, we'll see.
And I think they're right to say we'll see. Just as you can be excited, I think even the people that are excited should say we'll see.
100%.
Just to be smart about it. I mean, we don't know. And we do know this 100%. If they're terrible again, they will not keep that class. It'll fall apart, and that'll be that. But
we don't think they're going to be terrible. I don't think we're going to be
terrible. I think that's the rub, right? I don't think they'll be terrible either. I don't know if they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be terrible. I agree with that. I think the floor has been raised. I think the changes were smart in that regard. I think what's hard is this is the time of year when you start looking at your schedule, and you start looking at segment groups, and you start using all the different analysis tools that are at your disposal, and you try to figure out what every segment group is and where Florida State fits. And when you do that, you start, there's some opponents that are better off than you, that project better on the offensive line, secondary, whatever it might be, running back room. But for Florida State, it's weird. It's like they're not the dregs of the ACC, but they're not the best in the ACC in any one of those segment groups either. And so you just don't know. You're kind of like, well, I mean, I think we're better than Pitt, but I don't know if we're better than Virginia Tech here. Or I think we're better than it, but I know we're not better than Clemson here. I think, and you do this, and so it gets hard. I will say that I come away from that process realizing that, look, the reason the spread's so big isn't just because Florida State went 2-10 last year, but Alabama projects nicely in like 4 different segment groups with a bunch of pros. And so no matter what scheme you're running, the argument against Florida State in that game is that Alabama has better players, and bigger, stronger, faster typically outdoes scheme. But it's the first game of the year, and you can confuse the hell out of people in first games of the year, and it can be really weird, especially for a first-time starter at quarterback on the road. If Florida State gets off to a good start in that game, who knows? Bama is coming off a 4-loss season. They have to feel some pressure. So I can't say that just because Alabama's better on the offensive line and better in the secondary and better at wide receiver, it doesn't mean that they're going to win the game. It's the first game of the year. It's exactly when you'd want to play that game. You wouldn't want to play it week 6.
You really wouldn't want to play the game. But if if you decide to play Alabama, you do want to do it first, and you want to do it at home. I would say this, though, when it comes to these segment groups, the beauty right now, as we look at it again, early July, is that no, I don't know that Florida State has the best group of any position in the ACC. But I feel like you could make an argument because of the veteran experience leadership, veteran experience they have everywhere. They're not going to be bottom 5 or bottom 8 or even bottom half in anything. Like, I think Herring, Thompson, and one of your other linebackers is a solid linebacking core. It's not special,
right,
but it's solid. The ACC doesn't have a lot of special linebacking cores. Same thing with the defensive line. You got Darrell Jackson, you got James Williams, you got some other guys that might be good. Offensive line, a ton of starts at different, at Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. So again, I don't expect them to be awful at anywhere. They might not be great anywhere, but they're not going to be awful either. And that should portend to a pretty decent season.
Yeah. The question is it 6-6 or is it 8-4?
Yeah.
And there's a world of difference.
Well, if they go 6-6, that is a bad season, because that means you went 4-6. You've got 2 wins.
That's my point, though. Like,
you went 4-6.
If you're a middling team,
yeah,
then that's what I'm saying. If you're an average ass team, that's below average.
Yes, it is.
But the other part of that, if you go 6-6, is it means that you lost every good team you played and 2 others.
A couple bad ones, yeah.
Yeah. No, in my mind, I would fire them. They may not.
I think 6-6 would be a tough one to come back from. But you got the cavalry coming with this recruiting class, gang, right? And they're locked in. You don't want to. There's probably something in the contract that said
Ham on the verge of being out of here.
And all of a sudden, Jonathan Isaac rolling
in here, guys. You can't fire him. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way.
Picture this. It's midnight and you're lying in bed, scrolling through this new website you found, hitting the add to cart button on that item you've been looking for. After 15 minutes, you decide you've done enough damage to your wallet and decide to check out. But you remember that your wallet or credit card is in the living room and you don't want to get out of bed to go get it. Just as you're getting ready to abandon your cart, that's when you see it. That purple shop button. That shop button that has all of your payment and shipping information saved, saving you time while you stay warm in your bed. That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes everything easier, from checkout to creating your own storefront. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel and Seminole Headlines to brands just getting started. Shopify gives you that leg up from day one with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand style and forget about all the code. Tackle all those important tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. Spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools to find and keep new customers. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Your customers already love it. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/warchant. Go to shopify.com/warchant. Shopify.com/warchant.
6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the Battle's End. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Porter man, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porter man, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Florida man, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity boogie to get straightened out.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way.
At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Guys, go over to warchant.com and you'll read a lot of things. You'll read Ira's latest article on Gus Malzahn. Did you sense, Ira, I want to ask you to start the segment that
where did y'all meet?
His office, yeah.
What kind of pictures does he have?
Not a ton, but he does have that Bowden trophy sitting on his desk, the Bowden National Coach of the Year trophy.
Does he have Kelvin catching the ball in the end zone?
No, that's still in the front.
He did talk about it.
Yeah, he did.
So when you asked that question about the idea of being a coordinator, I'm curious, how did you ask it, and was he open to having that discussion? Clearly, there are quotes about it, so he obviously answered it to some degree. But I'm just wondering, because I think that's a tough transition for a guy who's been a head coach as long as he's been, to have to be a coordinator, but then to also embrace it because you were tired of the other role. It seems like he intimated as much. He was tired of being a head coach. He was tired of the things that took away from being a play caller. So anyhow, when you asked that question, what was the sense you got from him?
Yeah, that was really the whole premise of the article. Because when we talked to him back in January or February, when it was in the press conference, and then we talked to him in the spring, kind of the premise was that he did want to get away from dealing with NIL, dealing with the transfer portal, just getting back into coaching. That was kind of his talking point throughout the whole thing. But then, during the spring, we realized that Mike Norvell kind of came to appreciate the CEO role. Like I felt like there's a real transformation from where Mike Norvell was in December talking about making this change to like the end of the spring. Like I think he really did enjoy the opportunities.
He felt it in practice.
He saw what he was able to do, ways he could impact the team without being the play caller. So my premise for the interview when I approached Gus and the staff about it was, how has it played out for him? Like, has it been what he thought it was going to be? How has it been different? And then how's it played out? Like, what's it allowed him to do that maybe he couldn't have done as head coach? And so that's kind of where we went off from. And he was, Gus is never going to I also had to sit down and interview with Tony White, which was a great conversation. Gus is never, that I've seen, like that effervescent in terms of just sharing every personal detail. But we kind of got there through a conversation. And I don't think he is going to say that he couldn't do it as head coach, that it was, too much or something like that. He did I thought it was interesting. He admitted that part of the reasons it wasn't working at UCF is they did get a partial share these last couple of years in the Big 12. And I think that's something that, I think that was kind of a takeaway for me, is a lot of people looked at what happened at UCF the last couple of years. They went from 9 wins 2 years in a row to 6 wins and 4 wins. That, okay, the Gus thing is over. Like, he can't do it anymore. That's what some people kind of felt. And, I think, he didn't trash UCF, but he did say, look, the bottom line is we joined the Big 12. We're playing a bunch of schools that have a different revenue structure, different budget structure than what we had. We were only getting half of what everybody else was getting, and that was a challenge. Now they're going to start getting a full share, and they'll get back up to where they want to be. But he just felt like it was not going in the right direction. He's never going to say that he couldn't do it. I think in his mind, Gus Malzahn, in his heart, believes he could be a head coach anywhere and be successful as the offensive coordinator too, or at least directing the offense. But as it comes to this job, he did acknowledge that, he's got a ton more time to talk to the players, to meet with the players, to have time with just the quarterbacks, to just focus on one side of the ball, not have any of the other issues to deal with, not have to go on the road recruiting. That's part of his deal. And also not have to deal with all the, transfer portal and NIL. He just gets to focus on quarterbacks in the offense and building a scheme around those guys. So I think he is really excited about that. But I don't think he would open up and say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my career. I think he's still, if Florida State has success this year or over the next couple of years, I still wouldn't be shocked if you wanted to go be a head coach again.
I think it's important that he accept, embrace, celebrate the aspect of what he gets to do now that's different from what he was doing at UCF. Just as I think it's of vital importance Mike Norvell do the same.
Yeah.
See, I think we all know in any line of work, especially if you're good at it, ego is involved. You believe in yourself and you have to have immense confidence and you got to do things a certain way that works for you. But when that doesn't work and adjustments have to be made and your ego takes a hit and you have to 2.0 this thing, it's very difficult if you just say the right things but don't believe them. You have to embrace, like I think Mike has to really understand, look, I may not like it. I may be embarrassed about it. I certainly don't want to talk about it. But I authored 2-10. I authored 2-10. And it doesn't matter that I also authored 12-0 the previous season. I authored 2-10, and a change had to be made. And that involves me directly having to change my role as head coach. I've got to change the way I do work. Well, you can accept that the school's telling you that Alfred's telling you that the record's telling you that fans want that. But if you begrudge that and don't embrace the freedom it gives you to operate in a different way and maybe a better capacity, then what good is it? So that's why I was curious how he thinks about the role as just an OC.
Yeah, and he did acknowledge that, because I asked him specifically, like, you don't get to make the final decisions anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's got to be different. And he said it is. He said, that's where he used the quote about, he's like, look, I haven't been an offensive coordinator since, I had Cam Newton. It's been a long time. And he said, I've had to learn that again. But I think he has. I mean, the impression I got, I'm sure there's going to be, and I brought this up several times over the offseason. We've all talked about it. I do think there's going to be moments in games where there's going to be some question or working through that process. When to go for it. What are you going? What's the play call in those short yard situations? 4th and 1, 4th and 2. When do you go for it? When do you trick plays, things like that. Like, what if Mike Norvell wants Gus to call a trick play and Gus doesn't want to call a trick play? It's just that part of it's going to be different.
That was the Bobby Bowden, Jimbo Fisher dynamic.
Yeah. Run the reverse.
Yeah.
But I think just like I don't think Gus Malzahn would come out and say, this is what I need to be from now on. I need to be an OC from now on.
Right.
I don't think Mike Norvell
I don't either.
believes that if he left Florida State 3 years from now or 5 years from now, or wherever else, that he couldn't go back to being the play caller. It's just after what happened last season, he knew he had to make a change.
Well, he could not.
Right.
You can't do you can't have the offense you had last year and just run it back with the same person calling the plays and putting together the personnel.
But I think he would put that on all the decisions they made in terms of personnel, letting things, just all the mistakes they made away from him calling plays. I don't think Mike Norvell believes he couldn't do it. It'd be
crazy if his confidence was that
right.
But I think they all have that, though. I do.
No, I'm saying if his ego has shattered because of one bad season to the point where it's like, I don't even know football anymore. Like he obviously questions and looks back and it's like, man, what did I do? He has to. Anybody with a brain. But I don't think you would lose it and just be like, I can't do this anymore. Something passed me by in those 6 months where all of a sudden I just don't understand the sport. That would be weird if he was just like that.
Probably akin to being an elite upper crust hitter and going 0 for 85. Like having a stretch where all of a sudden I can't hit. I can't. Yeah. Like if Tony Gwynn suddenly had a stretch where
Derek Jeter had like an 0 for 38 one time right in the middle of his prime.
Baseball's hard, but it's like just take any elite hitter.
Yeah.
And then they go through a stretch where for 2.5 months they hit 206.
Like the Braves team. Like the entire Braves team.
Like when that is happening, you at some point you would begin to say, okay, yeah, great. I've had a bunch of seasons in which I was an upper crust hitter and it's how I got here and it's how I've made all my millions of dollars. But these results are telling me something very different. You would wonder, has your bat speed slow?
Yeah.
Is your eyesight where it needs to be? Are you not picking up on it? Let's take a different approach. Mike, 2-10 at 13 points a game, I think would shatter your belief that you could do it.
Come on, Jeff. I think it was like 14.9. Come on. It was right near 15.
But I think it would. I think you would fundamentally wonder.
I definitely think it, but I'm not saying it would just cripple his self-belief for the rest of time.
Maybe not for the rest of time, but certainly
I don't think he would think, oh God, I just, what was it smoke and mirrors the last 12 years?
I think he puts on everything else.
Yeah,
I think he blames himself for all the other decisions. I don't think he thinks his play calling was the problem.
And he might be wrong in that belief, but I don't think it would be, because it wasn't like he was a 1-year pony with the just 2023.
That's my point, is that it's just like being a great hitter. You weren't a great hitter by accident, especially if you got to a place where you'd be considered that. But the results are telling you something different now, and it would be very difficult. Yeah, I'm sure he does deflect and say, well, I made a bunch of terrible personnel decisions. Perhaps you also didn't show any imagination in play calling. We ran the same damn play over and over and over again. Last year I was incredulous.
Yeah, I think
we don't have to talk about last year. I know.
I think, but back to your overall point, like, you need both of them to have some humility.
Yes, that's my point.
To embrace these new roles. But look, they were head football coaches in Power 5 schools. They're alphas by nature. So you got to find a sweet spot in between there. To your overall point, yeah, man, there's no question. Mike Norvell has to accept that this is Gus's offense, and I think he has. Gus has to accept that Mike Norvell makes the final decision.
Yeah, it's Mike Norvell's team.
Yeah, and I think he has. I mean, I think they're in a good place.
I think there will
be more stress once you get into games.
I agree with you, because I wonder the first time where that gets put to the test. I don't think it has so far, because they had an agreement. Like, you come here, you're running the offense. Got it. I'll be CEO. Great. There'll become a time where they are at a crossroads where Mike has to say to Gus, you're going to do this. We'll see how he takes that.
Well, what choice does he have? He's going to say no?
Well, I asked him.
You can still see a fractured situation.
Yeah. And I asked him about the process. Look, Mike Norvell, this was his offense. He recruited most of these players. He's not going to, does he still have input? Like, that was kind of does he still have input? He's like, oh, Mike's a real smart guy, and, he'll have ideas. But, you get the sense it's Gus's offense.
Sure.
And which it should be. I mean, that's why he hired him.
Brought him in. Yeah.
So that Mike could spend his time doing other things. So, again, we'll have to see how it works out. I do think there's a scenario, and if people read the story, I think you get to that point where I got to, is I do think that Mike getting to be a CEO is going to be really good for Mike. Gus getting to be an OC again and not having to deal with anything else could be really good for Gus. And those two things together should be really good for Florida State.
It would be fun. Like, if you could put down the ego and say, okay, well, this had to happen for either one of them, but I now get to do this. As Mike likes to point out, what an opportunity.
Right.
So, like, you get to do this. That's kind of what you would have to do. But you'd have to believe it. You wouldn't have to just say it. You'd have to believe it. Okay, what does this afford me the opportunity to do? For Gus, I can avoid all the nonsense that college football has become. I don't have to deal with any of the agents nonsense. A kid trying to bend me over a barrel for $300,000. He's never taken a snap in college football. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. I just, game day, this is what I'm doing. This is why we're running what we're running. I install, I call. This is what we do. And for Mike, man, I got so caught up in the play sheet. All I did was sit there and stare at the play sheet. And the next thing I know, the world was passing me by over here. My program got away from me. Now I get the chance to see, well, why was this failing? Why was this failing? I need to interject here, here, and here. I never noticed that. Oh, this player's confidence is shot. Well, I got the time to walk over here now and talk with him while this other stuff is going on, because I'm not responsible for the practice. I'm not responsible in terms of calling the next play in this practice.
And there may be moments in games where the other one doesn't love the decisions the other one just made.
Yeah,
that happens. Like, that happens, and you just got to live with it.
But I also think that, like, even if Gus Malzahn is completely selfish and he only cares about scoring points, he doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't care about the flow of the game. At the end of the day, that's good for Mike Norvell. You have a selfish offensive coordinator that even if he only cares about scoring points because he wants to be a head coach in 2 years and he wants to resurrect this offense. The byproduct of that is Florida State's offense is going to double its scoring output, at least. It might be one of the top offenses in the conference. That's good for Mike Norvell.
There are times when you got to manage a game a little bit.
No, but that to the point. Yeah. This is the point I'm talking. That's the crossroads.
It is.
That's the moment that Mike says late in the third quarter when you're up 21, but the other team has firepower and they don't need to be back on the field after a 3 and out. Hey, dude, slow it down.
We don't need to snap it with 31 seconds on the clock.
Or if Tony White comes over to Mike at some point and says, "Hey, man, we got 2 guys down on the D line. We're a little."
But wouldn't it be a great problem to have to be up 21 late in the third quarter? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be a nice change of pace?
I just said we're up 21. You could have just said, wouldn't it be nice to score 21?
21? Got 21 in a football game?
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy this afternoon with storms likely. Highs around 86. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight. Chance for storms. Lows around 73. Mainly cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms. High temperatures reach up to 87. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 87.
Go custom with your window coverings with help from Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Budget Blinds brings their showroom to your home with dozens of color and pattern choices. Just tell them what you love and they'll make it happen. From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Is your lunch break feeling a little bland? Escape the ordinary with a visit to Café de Martín. Whether it's a fresh ceviche or a steaming plate of arroz con pollo, our Peruvian flavors turn any lunch hour into a culinary adventure. Fast, flavorful, and always unforgettable. Café de Martín is your new go-to for lunch. Visit the menu online at cafedemartin.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Really quickly, thanks to Troy Noel and Keith B. Keith B's back again as a new member. The green is showing on the screen.
YouTube members.
Yeah, Troy Noel's been 4 months now doing it up. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you very much. Missed it at the outset of the show. Wanted to say thanks. Now, I'm fired up. That was a fun segment. Fun segment to do. We sounded excellent.
Perfect.
Good. A little self-evaluation right away.
You listen back to it at the break?
Yeah.
You're like,
just checking in on the audio, and I was like, that's a good point Ira made. Boy, Jeff, you really counted that well. Corey, nice drop in. There we go.
That's what I do. I just drop it in.
Back to mid-season form.
Yeah, well, it's
time. I was thinking about the return of Coach Speak, which will be coming in a couple months, too.
That is true. I forgot about that, and I was thinking about a cold Tavello beer.
Look at you.
Ice cold. It's hot out. It's 4th of July weekend.
You know what? And they're actually going to be open for part of the July 4th.
I saw that.
And they're going to basically...
I wanted to get that out there before the show got too far in.
Appreciate that. Yeah, if you go up to Develop in Thomasville, Georgia, our beer partners.
The official beer of Seminole Headlines.
It is. The craft brew, which, by the way, my daughter brought up. We need to get the Seminole Headlines beer. We need to push that through.
No duh.
Let's talk to our guy.
Yeah, so we'll talk to Maurice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm going to go up there Friday. It started my July 4th that way. But yeah, you can go in on Friday. If you don't want to, if you've got festivities going on, you can go in there and pick up your 6 packs.
8 a.m., 9 a.m.,
we'll
get
see.
started.
Maybe 11, maybe noonish. But
just how our forefathers wanted it.
It's like a game day.
Yeah.
But exactly. Yeah. But they'll be because that's one thing you can do. It's a Velo. If you don't have time to hang out in the tap room, you can stop by and buy a 6-pack to go. Take it to the house.
Why not do
the
that?
Right thing? All the different kinds of beers. They've got IPAs, the stouts, the ciders, and then
all
the lager, and then we love the coffee blonde.
Coffee blonde's really good, especially for the 4th of July. It's not too light, not too heavy. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good people. Noles got married at a Florida State football game, like literally in the stands. It's people you want to support.
Hey, I got a question that's just fun to read aloud really early in the show. that I didn't touch on, but it basically asked the question, what was it like for me to be able to sit there and watch the Pirates beat the bejesus out of Tom's Mets in the 3 games that we just came back from?
That was something.
It was something. It's one of those things where you're trying to be humble, and it doesn't take a lot.
I feel like most Pirates fans probably have a lot of humility.
I think so.
I mean, it's been a minute.
It's true. But you start feeling yourself when the scores are getting out of control by the inning.
Because it's not like you were just like rallying and make these comebacks during the games. And every time I looked, it was like 9-1.
Oh, these are ass beatings, historical ass beatings, to the point where they released a lot of information about it on the internet over the last couple of days.
Did you do it? Did you do
ass kickings?
Did you do Tom a solid since you guys were there in person to watch his team lose in historic fashion? You do him a solid, maybe buy a couple extra beers.
I did. I kept offering him more as the games went on. I'd be like,
Steel City.
I'm like, Iron City.
Iron City.
Yeah,
well, whatever you call it. I like Steel City.
He liked Icy Light and Icy their local beer there, and they serve them in 24-ounce cans, so you can get to feeling good in a hurry. If
not a bad idea for Tom in those moments.
I said to him late in the first game, and that was a Friday night. We'd flown up. We were all giddy. We had already checked in. We had a nice meal. Went over to the stadium. We're watching this ass kicking play out, and then I said, hey, you know what? It's only the 5th inning, and it was getting out of control. I'm like, why don't we pop another Icy Light? Let's go. And he was like, sure. And then before it was over again, he's like, let's get another one. I was like, yeah, let's get another one. By the way, one shout out to the fine folks in operations at PNC Park. I mean, everybody knows it's a beautiful ballpark. They don't shut down beer sales till the 8th inning.
Nice.
I think Truist is 7th. Yeah? I think Truist is 7th. I think Hauser is 7th.
Well, they do it early at a lot of ballparks that I've been to, where it'll be like, fans don't forget. I'm like, it's the top of the 5th, bitch. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Fans don't forget to go get your beer. Yeah, it was the bottom of the 8th. They're like, still got a chance, but you got to hurry in there. I was like, how about that? One for the road here. We're walking. What do we care?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Maybe they don't have as many people driving out of the stadium maybe as we do in
Tampa.
Yeah.
So it was great. So it was nice. But I bought Tom a lot of beers. Offered after the second beatdown. I was like, well, at that point, we had won the series. I was just hoping to see a good game, but we scored 5 in the first.
Yeah, you never got to see a good game. Not even a competitive game.
Not remotely.
Not really a competitive inning.
Remotely. No, it was a toughie.
It was like Florida State playing Georgetown or something. In baseball, I mean.
But I give him credit in the bonus hour for folks that'll listen after the show ends. He handled it like a true baseball fan, a champ who's been around the block, seen some things, right? He was just kind of like, it's baseball.
I think his team's still like 11 games over 500.
Yeah,
but they're a mess. They've been like the last.
Yeah, they haven't been great. They also lost 5 straight to the Braves, which is crazy.
Yeah, they are, I think, 3 of their last 16 or 3 of 16. Yeah, that's a tough run.
Then when I saw they were having a team meeting over the weekend, I knew that was a bad
players-only meeting usually.
Yeah, players-only meeting.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the players-only meeting was that took place after Saturday's game. It was 5-0 in the first on Sunday's game.
Well, hey man, maybe the starting pitcher wasn't at the meeting.
That meeting didn't do much for morale. Clearly, it didn't turn around. But he got to see an O'Neal Cruz bomb, a couple of them, but one of them that was just lasered at like 114.
Hey, yeah. If we're going to talk about Major League Baseball,
it's just only for a second. We were asked the question.
What Cal Raleigh is doing?
Another one last night.
Insanity.
It is insanity.
Did you see the list of the people that had 33 home runs before July in the history of baseball? It's like Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., Mark McGwire, and Sosa, and that's a wrap in Cal Raleigh.
He's only the second to have 33 home runs before July 1st.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is he only the second?
He's only the second.
And obviously, he's the only catcher.
It's Barry Bonds and Cal Raleigh.
The record for home runs by a catcher in Major League Baseball history is 45. By Johnny Bench, I think.
He's got a good shot.
He's got a really good shot. It's crazy.
As we're sitting here July 1st. It's insane. And we all thought Cal Raleigh was a nice player, especially that last year. But nobody thought we would be looking at Cal Raleigh 33 home runs.
I thought he'd be a good
major league.
I thought he'd be a major leaguer because the switch hitting and the defense, but I never thought he'd be like an MVP candidate. Right now, he should win the MVP. Well, I know Judge; they'll probably give it to Judge. But if this keeps up, and he's a platinum glove defender, like he's the best defensive catcher in the league, or one of them, and he's going to maybe lead the major leagues in home runs as a catcher. That's crazy.
Well,
Hall of Fame.
When the Orioles played him, they didn't pitch to him. I mean, they pitched very carefully around him. I don't understand these teams that are just letting him hit home run after home run. I mean, it's ridiculous.
He's proven himself. Yeah, I don't believe.
Well, and last night I watched the game. He came up with the bases loaded and just missed one. It was still a fly ball deep enough that he scored the run, but he just missed it. And I'm like, it's such a violent swing that he was this close to hitting a grand slam. And then his very next at bat from the other side of the plate, he hits an opposite field home run. It's like, this is crazy what he's doing. He's better than Buster Posey in one season. Then I think you could make the argument he's better than Buster was for that one, even his MVP season.
It's what he's doing. He's on pace to be right now.
Right, but because of the defense, too. He's not just Mike Piazza. He's a defensive stalwart, too. So,
while we're on the subject,
FSU is catcher you, right?
It's unbelievable right now.
Terry Kennedy, Buster Posey, and Cal Raleigh. Come on now. Let's talk about something that, since we're on the subject and we're rounding out the hour, before we get to what's mostly going to be football questions, I'm sure. Okay. Some arms.
Sweet Jesus, and right-handed arms to boot.
Yeah.
Just got another one from Duke, got the kid from Virginia, the kid from Oregon. I mean, they're just one after the other. Now, look, I'll tell people, they whiffed on some position players they wanted to get. They had money for some guys that they wanted to get offensively.
Maybe not enough money.
They didn't get those guys.
Not if they want to keep Bailey, maybe.
They didn't get those guys.
Bailey and Carnes.
So then they had a little extra to spend, but they said, screw it. We're going to go all in on proven high-quality arms to compete for rotation and bullpen spots. Man, really, there's no arguing with – go look at every one of those. I know you guys have, but for the people that haven't, go look at the kids they've brought in. These are
the one kid almost averaged
arms.
like 2 strikeouts an inning.
Yeah, these are missing bat arms, and we didn't have anything from the right side last year, which drove me nuts. I thought roster management guys, we got to do better here. Okay, so they have thrown – money at the problem, and they're throwing a lot of arms at the problem. This is exciting. I mean, we'll see. I still think they're going to be a good offense. It won't be, unbelievable, but they're still going to be good. If you think about the maturation of some of the kids that are already on the team, like I think Cal Fisher could hit 14 home runs next year and be high
Bailey
quality.
Could hit 25.
Miles could be the top 5 player in the country. Obviously,
I think Carnes is a 15 or 20 home run guy.
Carnes is a stud. He'll be playing a lot more
Chase
often.
Williams going to steal 50 bases.
Could, and we'll lead off for you and play center field.
He doesn't run through a wall.
Or run into Gage Harrelson.
Back a little bit. But no, they got. Listen, I know we're thinking about football, but they're making moves right now, and it's exciting.
Well, I just go back to when Link came here with that original coaching staff, and Chuck Ristano, who was the pitching coach, now is the head coach at Navy, and he said that what attracted him to working for Link Jarrett at Notre Dame and then coming to Florida State was he knew the offense would be good. Like if Link Jarrett's coaching the offense, he's going to get what he needs to get out of an offensive players to have a good offense, and defensively, he's obviously an exceptional coach. So now if you put this effort into the arms, that should take care of that side of it. Because again, you bring back, 5-6 position players on offense you feel really good about. If they get the kid from Davidson, if he comes in, doesn't get drafted, that's another big piece that they've got.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then you got to, you'll have a couple other guys kind of stepping into new roles. But man, if you have a pitching staff that's versatile, that was the problem this year is they just didn't have versatility. They had some guys who were good at one thing, but that was about it. And if they got into uncomfortable situations, they could have happened what happened at Oregon State.
And they were still a strike away from probably getting Omaha.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win that game 1 out in Corvallis, which they should have, they're a strike away from getting Omaha.
I think that's the new floor, to be honest with you. I think this is why people are so excited about Link. Like, there'll be years where they don't make it because it's baseball.
Yeah.
And it happens. But they're going to be in a position to get out to Omaha most of the years that he's doing things here. I think he's just that kind of buttoned up, Now, obviously, it's just a matter of cashing it in. But hated to hear the news about Prescott. Looks like that didn't go well, which we all worried about.
That was pretty obvious, I thought, when he walked off the mound.
Yeah, that was
sadly.
It's very sad for him, and I wish him well. But, to me, it's like, make sure you have a versatility of arms. Make sure you have a depth of arm. I think offensively they're always going to be efficient. And if not better, and they've been better the last 2 years, they've been elite. I have no reason to believe that we shouldn't be very, very excited. It's a long way from baseball season.
And Cal Raleigh should be signing it. I don't know what Cal Raleigh's contract status is, but
Actually,
he needs to renegotiate.
Somebody in the chat mentioned that he signed his extension a year too early.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
If the Mariners had any
heart
at all, they would renegotiate with Cal Raleigh, not try to get him on the cheap.
Maybe he'll get some good NIL deals.
I was going to say, or maybe, or maybe the Mariners fans can pay for him to stay there. But also then maybe give some money back to his alma mater.
You were quick to ask for guys' money, though. I love that about you.
Do we not want the stadium right in front of College Town?
No, I've said this for a long time. They need to bulldoze the dump that is Hauser. It's fond memories. It will always be near and dear to my heart. But sweet Jesus, dilapidated. Now it's not where it needs to be. Let's go. Ira, you do these kinds of stories. Get on it, buddy.
Okay, I'll make it.
Call it the big dumper.
Just start writing irresponsibly about how there's momentum.
There's momentum for the stadium over there. Cal Raleigh is one of the.
He's got money behind it. With unnamed sources that talk about the momentum that's building.
And what a disappointment it would be if Michael Offer couldn't pull this off.
Yeah, because right there, the dominoes are there. And also, like
folks behind the scenes have told me, there it is.
The All-Star game is in Atlanta this year. Right. Could I not get a press pass for Warchant to go cover Cal Raleigh, and then in that context ask him
what has he
how
done?
Far along is he in building a new stadium for Florida State? It's just to see his response. Like, wait, what?
One of the early questions.
Well, yeah,
one of the first two that come out of your mouth.
Cal, I know Johnny Bench, all this stuff, Yogi Bear, all these guys you're passing, but can you just give us an update on where you stand with building a new Dick Hauser by College Town? And he'll be like, what is College Town?
I think you should lead with the question, what's it mean to be better than Yogi Berra?
Yeah.
Just lead with that.
Every aspect.
I mean, you're a better player.
Better speaker.
A lot of people don't realize your quotes are superior to his, including the ones that are attributed to him that he never said, which, you go on and on about it. Well, we'll see. We got a lot of fish to fry before we get to the new stadium. I get that. But I think we need an IRA.
Oh, yeah.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, get that started. But it is crazy that Cal Raleigh is this. I mean, he really is like a big superstar now. Like, he's a superstar in baseball. Now, I don't know if it's going to be that way 3 years from now because catchers have short shelf lives. But, man, what an unbelievable player he's turned into. It's really cool to watch. I think most Florida State fans are really excited that he's turned into this.
It's not like Cam Smith isn't kicking ass.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's back cleanup for him now. He bats cleanup for him.
Hit a ball the other night that we were like, wow. And that kind of makes more sense. When we saw him here, that body type, that strength, and, the big jump from one year to the next, you kind of figured, well, if he ends up, if he gets that man strength to him, and
that's coming. He's still 22.
He's still really, really young. You knew he was going to hit too. But there's a lot.
Parker Messick is in the futures game, so he's probably going to be called up any day.
I don't think I realized that's right.
He's in the futures game, so that'll be number 82 up on the board for FSU major leaguers. And then Tibbs, at some point, maybe next year, he'll be number 83.
Well, in much the same way we got excited about where the football program was, and this is not a shot at Mike. We didn't anticipate that drop-off, but I don't think you're going to see a Link Jarrett season. Now that they're good, that watches them fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
He had the opening.
Although I was telling somebody this the other day, like, I don't think – I never thought that Mike Norvell would fall victim to some of the things I think he fell victim to last year. And your circumstances and successes can change your thought process and the way you see things. So I'm done.
I wonder if Link, though. He's older.
Done.
He did it at two different schools.
I get it.
Never anymore.
I just feel like he will trust his actual approach to the sport, maybe not the approach to the roster building.
Right.
Like, roster building is an issue. He's
always talking about it.
Yeah.
Silence yourself.
Yeah. What about Luke Laux?
Hour number 2, forthcoming headliner questions. Hang in, everybody. Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get to get eyes on those shimmery new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Now that it's warm outside, your fireplace is probably the last thing on your mind. But smart homeowners know summer is the best time to get chimney work done. J. Walker Enterprises handles chimney inspections, repairs, waterproofing, custom caps, and so much more. Beat the busy season and be fire safe before it gets cold. Visit jwalkerenterprises.com and book your off-season service today.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a life.
Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Shane Bonds, 8-3, 4.37 ERA, $1.72 favorite as the Rays host the Athletics at Steinbrenner Field today, where the total is 8.5 over. Jeffrey Springs gets to start for the Athletics. Didier Fuentes on the hill for the Atlanta Braves, looking for his first win. He's a $1.64 favorite against Tyler Anderson of the Angels, plus 134, 9.5 flat, the total. Shane Van Gisbergen, the plus 185 favorite with the NASCAR Cup Series race on the streets of Chicago on Sunday. Ben Griffin, 14-1 to win the John Deere Classic at TPC Deere Run outside of Chicago. $250 bonus and you open up a G-Bank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co. LLC. Juice with permission.
Progressive's teen driver discount could lower the cost of insurance for your teenager and save you some money. And then you can still spend money on them. Because just when you think you have a grasp on spending, new sneakers. And then it's money for a school field trip. And of course, spending money. Oh yeah, and a new phone to replace the one they dropped in the toilet. Oh, don't remind me. So just get Progressive's teen driver discounts. And then you can continue to spend money on them endlessly.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states and subject to terms and conditions.
If you work in an essential job that keeps us all safe and healthy, thank you. If, however, your job has flexible hours, the Kraft Brothers Auto Dealerships hope you get to spend the fourth weekend with family. That's why this week through Thursday, we're staying open until 9 p.m. so that everyone on Team Kraft enjoys the holiday weekend with their family. We're proud to offer cars that are 100% made in America. Other car dealers may be open on Saturday, but we turn this week into a forget the sunshine, we're open till 9 event. Buy any car, get a free trip with airfare or a cruise. Get up to $3,000 over Kelley Blue Book and get $500 off any car after 5 p.m. And we have service specials after 4 p.m. Pathfinder and Rogue have 0% APR and are priced below the 2024 models. Yes, Kraft prices are coming down. So come by after work. We're open till 9. So don't just think about it, do it. Get into your next car this week. Kraft Nissan, Tallahassee.
Hey, it's me, your car. That crack on your windshield, yeah, it's not a good look. People are starting to stare.
Don't let your car be embarrassed. Call Seminole Auto Glass for fast, professional auto glass replacement. We'll fix chips, cracks, and your shattered pride.
Please, for both of us.
Call 850-539-4527 or visit SeminoleAutoGlass.com today. Seminole Auto Glass, saving cars
And their egos.
one windshield at a time. Better call Seminole.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions coming your way. Thanks for being with us. Good to be back with you. And as always, we begin the hour with a hearty thank you to Dr. Birch Orthodontics, sponsoring loyally, as she has been for a long, long time here, Seminole Headlines. We appreciate
13-0, 2-10. It doesn't matter to her. She
unwavering support
ride or die
for both Florida State and Seminole Headlines, which is a great thing. And thank you, Dr. Birch. Appreciate you very much. She's used to me making kind of snide comments and things of that. I'm just sincerely thanking her right here.
I think I really would like her to go with ride or die, or your ride or die orthodontist. I feel like that would be, it would engender her to the youth.
Do the youth say that?
I think
is there a new phrase
like
for
they're in their
loyalty?
30s now, the people that say that.
That's fine.
Is there a new phrase for the
Ride or
depiction
die?
of loyalty?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
It's probably non-words.
Is it still
I
like,
noticed
yes,
that
it
with
is.
the
It's an
kids. They're
emoji
they're
or
just
something.
like non-words, weird things.
I don't think she's going to go with that on her
She
motto.
could say she keeps it 100.
She keeps it 100.
Nobody does that anymore.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if
that's
they
that
rides or
one too.
dies anymore either.
Yeah.
Well,
But like I'm saying, there's no, I mean, not just emojis. Like kids stop short of saying the word. Like they can't be bothered. Like cuz becomes cuh.
Brady told
It's
me,
like,
texted me last night, he was doing something tonight, but he just abbreviated TN.
Yeah, you're
He
like, what
couldn't
is
even
that?
spell out
Couldn't
tonight.
be bothered with tonight.
Could be Tennessee.
Everything is shorthand.
Yeah, it's
could have been,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
could have been Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, one thing is not up for debate. Birch Orthodontics is the place to go if you need you or anyone in your family needs orthodontic work. Braces, Invisalign, all the latest technology, all the latest techniques. Great customer service. They do payment plans they do financing in the office. Get a free consultation. They handle difficult cases, and they'll refer you if you do need maybe dental work as well. They'll refer you to quality dentists in the area. And again, tell Dr. Birch and her staff that you heard about them on Headlines.
I like the first question of the day. It is from James, and he says, Corey, if Jim Phillips offered you a Monte Cristo from the trash can, would you eat it?
It's a fair question, and if I could tell it hadn't been touched,
Not from the trash can.
well, if I could tell it was if it was still in its container and it hadn't been touched,
So he adds,
then yeah,
for
wouldn't?
reference, it was on a plate at a top and above the rim. So it was like,
Yeah. It wasn't in the muck of
what's
the other
what's
stuff.
the issue? What? Why is that? I don't even understand the question.
He's just letting us know he remembers your Monte Cristo
Yeah,
story.
oh, yeah.
And your
I'm
dental
also,
story.
I can't remember the answer to this question. Does Bennigan still exist?
I do not think so. There might be one
Maybe,
somewhere,
yeah.
but it sucks because Bennigan's was cool, man. It had a much cooler vibe
It's
than.
cooler in your memory.
I mean,
I think if you go back to a
But
Bennigan's,
why
now you'd be like,
why did
"Yeah."
Chili's and like Ruby Tuesdays survive, but not Bennigan's?
They did a better job than Bennigan's.
Man, Bennigan's, the only thing I remember about Bennigan's more than anything is just going there in high school after football games on Friday nights. And then
the place was jumping.
But everybody trying to find out who would be the last person to have to make everybody's chipping in their $5.
Oh, and then you get
you're
screwed.
trying to figure out, like,
People are short.
trying to decide, like, I want to hang as long as possible, but I do not want to be the last person that has to count up the money.
Bennigan's had the cool circular bar in the middle. Guys, go look up just Google image search Bennigan's, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you probably want video stores to come back.
Yeah, 100%. That was a fun way to spend a Friday night.
That's the internet. It's the nostalgia. They're just shoveling it your way, and you think that Blockbuster was cool. It sucked. They run out of the movies.
Are
movies.
Crazy.
Well, yeah.
I like going to Blockbuster, and I did actually watching the movies.
Yeah, just seeing
That's different.
all the offerings. Oh, I didn't know they were in this movie.
Social gatherings are still wonderful. That part hasn't changed. But man, you would go and you're like, oh, Rambo's out. That thing's been gone for hours.
So
you got no shot of getting Rambo.
That's funny to think you were in a Blockbuster looking for Rambo. They were around. Blockbuster's around
Rambo
back then.
6.
Real quick, just to make everybody aware of the story, when I worked at Bennigan's as a busboy, I would take the not out of the trash. I would take uneaten portions of the Monte Cristo sandwiches because they were too heavy. People couldn't fill them. The quarter parts that they hadn't eaten, I would take them, sneak into the bathroom, and eat them off the plate.
Tough times in the Clark household.
Man, those things were so good. I would not take the dipping sauce, though. That was a little too much.
They don't feed me.
Yeah.
I gotta eat the
All they would give me for free at Bennigan's was a grilled cheese. And I'm like, no, man, I got this for free.
Off the Jimmy Carter. He was struggling. Dad's not bringing home money for food. We had nothing around
like
here.
a raccoon.
Yeah, this is
just eating anything out of the trash.
Mike writes, we got a prompt from Corey before midnight.
Yeah.
Shout out to Register Sausage in stock at the Tide Creek Coastal Market for last-minute provisions while using the local coast. Hey, how about that?
Okay. Where's Tide Creek?
I don't know.
I'll have to look it up.
He's visiting the coast somewhere. He said the local coast. Nathaniel writes, all three legends in studio. A Facebook prompt posted at a reasonable hour.
It's all coming together, gang.
We're inside of 60 days and things are getting serious, everybody. I'm supposed to measure in like Pat Watkins as safety, but I'm currently more of a plotting linebacker and on the verge of being told to stick my hand in the dirt as a GPA boosting defensive end. For anyone else in my shoes, time to lock it in and hit the eggs and Register's fueled keto diet for what's left of the summer to get ready. It's heavy season. Well, almost.
It's there for you. Register. If you're on the low carb diet, Registers will take care of you. No question.
I think Tide Creek is in Wakulla. It's past Panacea.
Okay.
It's right on the coast.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Nice.
Yeah. Made it all the way down there. Good.
All right.
And we're getting geared up. We're getting geared up, gang.
To Twitter we go. What FSU athlete have you been most wrong about for better or worse? There's a lot. I was most wrong about Jordan Travis.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think I was most wrong about Jordan Travis. I really didn't see that he would emerge as a passing quarterback with any degree of great consistency.
And I don't know that anybody knew it was going to happen. I think our argument at the time was just like, let's see.
Yeah.
I
got it wrong. I didn't think he would do it.
Is this just specifically during their time at Florida State, or could it be also?
We've been wrong about guys that have gone to pros, both for good and bad.
Well, going back to last hour, I did tell you guys Cal Raleigh was going to probably be the home run leader in the major leagues one day. There was something about that swing.
You can just tell.
Yeah.
I think Corey and I can own up to. I don't think either one of us thought Terrence Mann would become, even at Florida State, really what Terrence Mann became. I mean, he became a shooter. I mean, he became a real, I thought,
player,
when Terrence Mann first came to Florida State, I thought he was going to be kind of like what I thought Monte Brandon was going to be.
Good old Monte Brandon.
Love Monte Brandon. He was actually Leonard Hamilton's last game. Enjoy talking to him. He's coaching now. He's doing real well. But I thought Monte Brandon could be like kind of the just athletic kind of you're not going to run things for him, but he can go rebound, go make some plays. And I thought Terrence Mann would be that. I didn't realize Terrence Mann would become he'd be a top flight ACC player.
What about ones he got right? Those are more fun. I guess those are fun too when you're wrong. I was going negative. I was thinking about somebody that I thought was going to be awesome that didn't end up doing much.
Oh, well, your favorite wide receiver in history.
Who's that?
Scary Terry.
But he produced, man. He had 1,000-yard season. He did.
I'll go. Trayshawn Ward is one I feel good about because in practice I remember thinking, okay, man, that kid he's a walk-on, but he can play.
Yeah. You're right. And they didn't. I would think that Terry doesn't fit the mill. I think someone like Fred Rouse, who was the number 2 player in the country that people thought was going to be good and never did anything. That
doesn't fit because first of all, the three of us weren't on the air at the time to talk about it.
Yeah.
But secondly, I mean that was self-sabotage without getting into that. I mean, it's
I get it.
I remember talking to James Colsey when he was
I got one, by the way. I just got it.
When Colsey was when he was a GA under Mickey Andrews, now he's head football coach at FAM. He said that Fred Rouse's sophomore tape was the best tape he's ever seen.
And I think a lot of people would have backed him up on that.
Just unbelievable.
He was unreal.
6'4", jumping out of the gym.
Well, that's back when Lincoln just produced NFL talent.
They all looked like that. It was Pat Watkins, Cromartie.
Yeah, you can go on and on for days.
Mine is and it's not really my fault, but I thought Malik Henry was going to be the real deal. When we watched him in that spring game, y'all. I was all fired up, and y'all. He just threw a bunch of bootleg passes to the tight end.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I'm like, yeah, but he looked like he belonged. And even Jimbo, when I asked him about it after that spring game, it was in Orlando, right? When they had the spring game in Orlando.
He thought
and he's like, all right, calm down. This guy, calm down.
Yeah.
He's like, he did some good things, but calm down. And I was like, well, that was a weird reaction.
Well, he was orchestrating that whole scrimmage to make DeAndre look good.
Yes.
And it didn't really work. DeAndre didn't look great. But yeah, no, Malik came to a camp when he was a freshman or sophomore in high school. He came to FSU for a camp when he was still in California. And like the high school coaches, like they work the camp, we're all like, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
Like the way,
and that was his peak.
Yeah, man. He's
in retrospect, the guy who changes schools 5 times in 5 years.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
It probably ended up being 7-7 when you count his college years.
Garrett writes, "Hey boys, if you could switch the position of one of the FSU football players, who would it be and what position?" Well, I don't know. Right now, we got a new roster. I've barely seen half the guys are going to be playing their current position. Enough to try to assess where they should switch to.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I just want somebody else off the edge.
Well, I mean, you may.
I don't care if it's Jalen Lucas. I want somebody with speed coming off the edge.
You don't want Jalen Lucas.
Probably
off
not.
The edge.
I think he would be a tough handle for an offensive tackle if he can't get his hands on him. If he gets his hands on him, he's probably going to push him into the sideline.
Yeah,
probably.
But that's not speed that an offensive tackle is used to dealing with.
But a running back would step in
and then can he
5'8", 180?
Can he bring a quarterback down?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. But he can get around him. He can get near him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I hope Amari Williams gets to play some tight end. I really do, because I think he is a phenomenal talent, and I think if he's as good a defensive end as they hope he is, and he can be an effective pass rusher, that's probably a bigger impact than a tight end when they already have other good tight ends. But I think he's special. I'd like to see him catching passes too.
Did Cam Davis play defense at all in high school?
Not that I remember hearing.
All right.
You moving into linebacker?
Yeah, I mean, I feel, or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to see some more ability from him this year to think that he's got a future at running back at this school.
I agree with Ira. Whatever side of the ball Amari's on, you're going to want to see him on the other side. Like, so if he's playing a ton of tight end, you're like, oh, no, I thought he was just great defensive end. And if he's playing a ton of defensive end, you're going to be like, I really like him as a tight end. I don't think because he's a really good athlete.
Kid.
Yeah, he's unique. But we collectively have not seen, and neither has anybody else, the vast majority of the starting 22 at their current positions, unless they're coming. There aren't that many that are coming back at that position. So,
some good names come out in the chat. Corey Wren, Corey Surrency.
Corey Surrency,
Xavier Lee.
Well, not all the Coreys are bad. Xavier Lee was a good one too, man. Xavier Lee, I don't know if you know this, could throw like 80 yards off one knee.
Off of one knee.
Yeah, off of one knee.
I think Xavier Lee in practice one day made the greatest throw to this day that I've ever seen. And he was rolling to his right, and I was standing on the sideline. I don't know why we were there. And he threw a ball across his body on a rope 60 yards. I'd never seen somebody make this throw.
Probably didn't even look like he exerted himself
it was
much.
Silly.
It's just a flip.
And I was standing there, and like it was one of those rare moments where players and coaches and media, we were all like, did we all just like nobody could believe what we just saw? And it was effortless, just a laser. He had immense tools and ability, but didn't like football that I could tell. And
I came up with another one. Cabangeli is a guy that I got on pretty early. Now he didn't have a great pro career, but he was very good at Florida State. And it was because Leonard was nice enough to let me watch a scrimmage. He redshirted the one year and did nothing. But going into that scrimmage before the next year when he was going to be a redshirt freshman, I was at a scrimmage where he hit like 8 threes. And I'm looking around like what? And nobody was like surprised or going, you're running around the gym. Like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm like, so he just does this? And I talked to Leonard after. He's like, yeah, and I might have told this story already. He's like, I was talking to my wife last night, and I'm gonna have to delete some language here. And he's like, I think this MFer might be for real. Talking to his wife about Cabangeli. And I was like, yeah, he was. He was a really good college player.
When he started making the straight on three in games, like remember they'd come down and it looked like he was going to run into the lane. He'd just stop and pop and hit that three. I remember going, no, not yet. you're gone.
Oh, yeah.
This is not good. He's going to go
But
to
he
the
was a
league.
tough rebounder, too. He's a good offensive. In that Xavier game, he had like 3 or 4 really big putbacks. He was a good, tough player, man.
Walter says, afternoon, gents. Welcome back. Showtime. Will Headlines work an NIL deal with the incoming freshman phenom golfer Miles Russell? We don't need to. That's been worked out, I'm sure. Maybe you guys could sponsor a Miles and Miles podcast with Miles Bailey and Miles Russell having a non-football perspective on FSU athletics, which would be fun. I will tell you this. I do talk a lot about Miles Russell next hour, but also that kid is so young, and his father rightfully is very guarded about how much access anybody's going to get to him while he's still in high school, which is, he's
what year is he?
He's class of 2027.
He's 16 years old.
He can reclass, right? Come on, Miles. What are you going to wait?
The thing is, he is rightfully labeled, at least in terms of accomplishments. This isn't projection. This is what he's already done. Probably the most accomplished amateur at his age in the last 25 years. He's a freak.
Yeah.
And so and that family, I think, understands, like, there's a lot of weight that comes with that. Right. To be that talented, to be that, I guess, is
he from Florida?
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. There you go.
No, you're going to hear that name a lot. Let's just put it that way. But he's got the same agent as Freddie Couples.
And the nice thing is,
like,
he's committed, and he's only 16. But in golf, you don't see a lot of the flips. Generally,
I wonder how that works with the
Jones.
flips. Yeah, he didn't do the hat thing.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think they're good if he goes to college. I think they got him if he goes to college. But
most of them do, though, even for a couple years. Even Tiger went for a couple years.
Yeah,
and he was
Stanford,
a big name.
Yeah, most don't come from poverty. So it's they've got some things going for them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I think we'll see him. I hope so. I'm rooting for it, because if you talk to golf people, they can't say enough glowing things about it.
Well, you got to get a few other guys on the team with him and go get you a championship, Trey.
Maybe before then.
It could be. Is the new baseball stadium being built on the IM field? Is there a new baseball stadium that I'm unaware of?
I think they're just talking about you guys talking it up. No, talking into it existence.
This was written 15 hours ago on Twitter, sir.
No, it's just the conversation we've had before that's kind of the dream place. That a lot of people in the athletics department and the baseball staff for sure would love that to happen. They would like to have it over there by College Town on the IM fields, but no, there's no plan in place.
Well, because they haven't reached out to Cal Raleigh.
Oh yeah, now once Cal knows he's in on it.
Yeah, well, he's got to put money in once he's in on it.
He's in on the record when you interview him. At the
that's
All-Star
right.
game.
And we'll name it I guess you name it the Raleigh Dome
or the Big Dumper, like you said.
The Big Dumper would be great.
Did you?
They going over to the Big Dumper?
The
tonight?
Mariners last night on their broadcast had it. They're giving away Cal tickets for like their next weekend series or something. And to promote it, they did have a dump truck right in front of the stadium, and because it's the Big Dumper ticket giveaway. What a nickname! I don't like the nickname. He should give that back.
I like it. Optimus writes, if FSU kicks off the season by beating Alabama, then what would be your regular season record prediction? Well, I think at that moment we'd probably overestimate what they were going to be, because we would all be so.
I'd push it to 9. I'd definitely push it to 9.
It puts you in the where you could see a 9-3, maybe even a 10-2. Because listen, if you're beating Alabama, going to Gainesville doesn't like completely seem off the table to go get a win there. Or certainly Miami.
Almost, you would say that if you beat Alabama, there's not a game on your schedule you couldn't win.
Right. So a little bit iffy about Clemson.
Well, I don't think you're going to beat Clemson, and I'll say that if they beat Alabama, but it's not a game you couldn't win. Right. If you beat Alabama, you'd say to yourself, and you'd be euphoric. We know how these things happen. Wins and losses happen for a reason, and they elicit emotions. If you beat Alabama as a 12.5-point underdog after all of the changes that they've made to the offense and the defense in terms of personnel, coaches, you would 100% walk out of Doak that night thinking they're back. Might not be true, but you would think it.
Yeah, and you'd have a few weeks to enjoy it.
Because you're going to stomp the next two teams.
Yeah, you're going to be 3-0 rolling into, I think, Virginia. Yeah, to Charlottesville.
And none of us are immune to this. I mean, we watch it. We have emotions. Like, if they're all of a sudden 3-0 with a win against Alabama, even though the other two games didn't mean anything, you'd still watch them play out.
As long as it's not like a win like the muff against Miami, where Florida State had 110 yards of total offense. And Alabama outgains you by 200 yards, but you get lucky with a pick six or a couple block field goals or something. If you stand toe-to-toe with Alabama and outplay them, then of course the perspective changes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a win would do it anyway, but there are different shades of a win. If you kind of get lucky and win, that's different than kind of dominating it.
I just believe off of 2-10, They could
it'd be incredible.
They could win 3-0. Your worst nightmare with an offense that amasses 100 yards.
But our man Weinberg hits a 62-yarder at the horn.
Walk off, and you would rightfully, I'd be like, look, our defense just shut Alabama out.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, the reality is there's a bunch of games on the schedule that if you're competently coached and you've made good evaluations in a school like Florida State, you should win those games. Yeah. So if you beat Alabama, by definition, you should feel really good about all those other games now. Now, the other 3 big games, we'll see.
And it's also college football. Weird stuff happens.
Yeah.
Good teams lose to bad teams. It happens quite a bit. But, yes, you would feel much better about how could you not? That you're not.
I'm sorry. I know that we would force ourselves to try to be measured for the task of trying to analyze a team, but the fans, there's no chance they would be measured. This is a starving fan base for something to latch on to.
There would be a few that'd be like Alabama must suck. There'd be a few that would take
so
that tack.
Perhaps.
Yeah, but yes, of course. If you go 2-10
and then you beat
Alabama to start the next season, they're going to make a movie about it.
Let's not pretend Alabama didn't beat Georgia last year.
Yeah, I remember.
You think about these things. See, right now with Alabama, to make yourself feel better, you point the 4 losses.
Right.
But if you beat them, well, that team beat Georgia last year, and they went in and stomped Wisconsin on the road, and they did all these different things. You would. Most of us would look at this as a major, and just the way they've recruited.
Yeah, right.
In the last 5 years, that would be a hell of a get. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometexsolutionsllc.com.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Ain't nothing but a G-pop, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby!
See? Remix!
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass.
Oh, but I just wanted to feel it.
Excuse me?
I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor?
They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound?
Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn.
For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567.
Stay off my lawn.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At waywardjet.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardjet.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardjet.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, I'm switch this over, and I don't do it so we get that echo.
Yeah.
I'm reading questions, trying to actually preview questions. How about
nice.
that?
There you
A
go.
lot of similar questions I'm noticing. And so then
That's
I thought,
all right.
well, I don't want to, I don't want it to be
Maybe there's nuances.
and not on a couple of them. Okay. So, good afternoon, boys. I don't know why you would write this now, Lawrence. Jeff, my condolences to you and the Pirates Nation. No, Pirates are rolling 4 straight domination. Oh, I see. He's talking about Dave Parker passing away. We all remember the great Dave Parker.
Yep.
By the way, that was kind of surprising because I hadn't heard the news as we entered the stadium on Saturday, and they made the announcement in stadium. I was really happy to have been there for that.
Yeah, that's
when I was a little kid. The Cobra, along with Willie Stargell, one of my 2 favorite players in baseball.
Does he have a statue there?
He does not. Willie Stargell does.
But Parker's now a Hall of Famer, right? Didn't he get it?
He did.
Well, they should.
He died 1 month before.
It'd be cool to have a place to put wreaths and flowers and stuff at the stadium.
They have the jersey up, and they have a bunch of different things, but they don't have a statue. They've got Clemente, obviously. They got Honus Wagner, because of course.
Well, because of the baseball card.
And then they've got Willie Stargell, which is also awesome. And the Willie Stargell one's huge, which is great. But anyhow, yeah, man, that made me sad. We're getting to that age, guys.
Buddy, when Dale Murphy goes, that is going to be a
tough day.
That's tough.
About Glenn Hubbard.
I mean, that kid. Warning track power. My dad said he always led the National League in fly balls to the warning track where people got excited for no reason.
Al Horboski?
Yeah, my dad didn't like him either.
I'm asking about you, buddy. I'm asking about which guys are going to
No
upset
substance,
you.
all style, just slamming the rosin bag down and then coming and throwing 89.
Is it shocking? Is Otis Nixon still alive?
I think he is, yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, he was going down a bad path,
I'm really
but I think
surprised
he might have gotten his life turned around.
I'm just curious. Who's your Oriole that'll make you cry? Cal?
Cal Ripken Sr.?
Brooks wasn't great. That was tough. But
Eddie
yeah,
Murray?
Yeah, Eddie would be tough.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but Eddie played with other teams.
A lot of other teams.
World Series with other teams. He's not always an Oriole. Cal Ripken's an Oriole. Just like Dale Murphy.
Eddie's an Oriole.
Dale Murphy was a better player than Cal Ripken.
Brady Anderson?
No.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That 1 year was special, though. He really found lightning in a bottle.
Glenn Davis, all those great ones.
Anyhow,
Jim Palmer will be tough for you, too, because you listen to him a lot.
Every day.
Yeah.
He mentioned that.
I will say that real quick. When you're a baseball fan, Skip Carey dying, I had spent so many days with him and Pete Van Wieren.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your childhood.
Those are your guys.
Those are your guys when you get to listen to, and the whole country got to listen to them because of the Superstation. But that really was hard. Like Skip Carey, Don Sutton to a lesser degree, but Skip Carey and Pete Van Wieren passing away, really, because I spent a lot of time with those dudes.
It's true that you get with baseball, especially if you grew up with the sport, you have guys that are your guys. Like I like Jim Bibby, and so like.
But it was harder for y'all.
Like that dying bothers me.
But it was harder for y'all because you didn't get to watch your teams every day.
That's true.
Like I did. I mean, I got the luxury of getting to listen to them on the radio.
That's why there's so many Braves fans in general.
It was tough when Skip Carey passed away.
The great thing about Jim Palmer is he was such a stud, not just a baseball player. He was recruited by UCLA, and John Wooden recruited him for basketball. Phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player, Hall of Famer, everything else, and he's still kind of an ass.
Oh,
so
completely.
Like when they interview players after games, like they'll interview the star of the game. Whoever had the best game, that's who they bring in for the post-game interview. And he will almost 95% of the time start off with a question kind of busting him for something they did earlier, like maybe a play they didn't play.
Oh, nice.
He starts off, and I love like these 22-year-old kids who I'm sure like dude,
probably don't even know really have any context of who he was.
Palmer?
Yeah, this flipping guy. Sorry, I'm not a Hall of Famer.
Ragging on people.
But I enjoy it.
Yeah, man. So now Parker and Stargell are gone for me. That sucks. And and I think about it all the time because I got to meet Stargell the last year of his life. And I met Dave Parker when I was in high school at Tyrone Square Mall going up the escalator when he was in spring training for the Reds.
That is nice.
Yeah,
Bill Matlock's still around?
Bill Matlock, I think, is still around. I love Bill Matlock.
Kent Colby?
Kent's definitely still around. Omar Marino.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll be that for some Florida State fans when we pass away. It'll be hard for them to really think about that. They spent a lot of hours with us.
A lot of hours. Gator Kirk writes, good afternoon, gentlemen. Does the cost of scholarships come out of the house settlement money?
So it's been confusing. Originally, FSU made it sound like that money was separate, that it was on top of the $20.5 million. Now it sounds like it's part of the $20.5 million. So it's kind of been a little murky, but it looks like it's part of that settlement money.
Okay. Jared writes, what is y'all's most favorite and least favorite games of the Dynasty era? Non-title games only.
Probably
non-dynasty era.
No, the Dynasty era.
The Dynasty era.
Yeah. Well, for me, 47-0 over Miami.
Is your most favorite?
Oh, it was so awesome because we were asses about it. Like in the second half, when we were lining up to kick off after yet another touchdown, we were dancing,
slam the kid into the goalpost, the quarterback
pointing at Miami. They were impotent, soft, embarrassed. It was beautiful.
Probably Michigan up there. That's an all-time memory with my dad. That was a really good one. And that wasn't a title game. So I would say that.
That's a really good one. That's a good one.
I was 16. It was a great
Any of the big Miami wins during the Dynasty era. I just hate Miami with a passion of,
1,000 Suns.
Sure. Yeah, I do. And any win over them that would cause grief. Yeah, I'd go high on that one. Oddly, I have some real fond memories for wins. Guys, get this. Just because of the experience of the moment with my dad.
Yeah.
So,
I remember what those used to feel like.
We don't want to go through all of them. Some of those moments.
I would say another one that gets lost a lot is the 98 Florida game. You had just lost to them you'd lost to them 2 times in a row where they'd cost you a national championship both times. And now you're on Mark Outson as your quarterback.
Yeah,
and I think you're losing. You didn't score in the first half. Peter Warwick makes that incredible play that should have been a pick six. He also throws a touchdown. Florida doesn't convert a third down all day on offense. I think the final was like 23-12 or something. But that place, when Peter Warwick scores that touchdown, is as loud as that place has ever been. And it was like cathartic because of what that team had done to you the last 2 years.
The 93 Florida game was chilly. I didn't go to a lot of the other games that you guys did, but the 93 Florida game was unbelievable.
I was at that game. That was a fun game.
Couple good players making a play there.
Yeah, a couple good moments. Yeah, we could go on and on. Good day,
least
gentlemen.
favorite. Do a least favorite real quick.
Wide rights.
Yeah. I was at too many of those.
Yeah.
30-0 wake.
Yeah,
that was a dynasty though.
Right. Yeah, and 30-0 wake.
There weren't a lot of really bad ones.
That's good. Here we go.
There weren't a lot of bad. The NC State game, but I wasn't there. The 98 NC State game.
Toughie. Good day, gentlemen. Happy Independence Day and yay sausage as we celebrate our freedom and British tyranny and hopefully soon independence from the ACC. And on off season, what is your favorite FSU sticking it to the ACC non-championship moment? Mine is the absolute dismantling of Clemson in 2013.
Going way back, like being so good at basketball right out of the gate, where they were like, oh, isn't this a cute little Metro Conference team? And then that team happened to have 4 first-round picks, and they beat North Carolina in their first Carolina in their first ever eight. No. This was their first ever ACC game just up there in December.
With the wine and cheese.
That was really cool because that was a basketball. It was a basketball conference. They knew Florida State was going to dominate football, but they're like, wait till they get a load of how good the basketball is.
That is a sticking it to them moment.
Yeah, you go up there and beat that team. That was a really loaded North Carolina team.
Yeah.
And I think one of your starters didn't even play, and you still beat them by like 10 or 12 points.
The team that I don't know why we keep going to basketball, but
because it hurts them more.
The 2012 ACC beating Duke and Carolina back to back in the ACC tournament was pretty fun. It would have been cooler if it was in Greensboro, but it was still awesome.
Guys, if Norvell is fired, would Manny Diaz or Dillingham be a viable candidate?
I mean,
Manny's a tough sell.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dillingham he'd have to have another great season.
Yeah, what could Manny do this year that would make you think he's better than Norvell?
Well, win 9 games again.
Win 9 games again, maybe beat Norvell. Yeah, but I mean, what are the odds that happens? You know what I mean?
Good, but if he has back-to-back 9-win seasons,
it's still though the Miami thing is still on him.
And I'm not saying I'd want him. I'm trying to answer the question like how he would become a viable candidate. Right. That's how.
Yeah, I just don't know that people would be fired up.
Yeah, nobody could be fired up to hire the Duke coach. Dillingham, again, we'll see what it looks like this year. But if he has another really good year, then I don't know that he would leave his home state and his home school, his alma mater, to come back to Florida State. He was only here for 2 years, right? So I don't know that this place has a hold on him, but you have a much better chance of winning a national championship at Florida State than Arizona State, if he cares about such things.
Kristen wants to know, I want you to think about it before you answer. What's one piece or aspect of technology you think that we would all be better off without? Social media, smartphones, whatever you got. It's a summer question.
It is a summer question.
Access to porn, like such easy, quick access to porn.
Because you have a 16-year-old kid.
Well, and I have yes, that's what I meant.
And you have and you're a man with a computer.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just like back in the day, again, not to be old. We won't go very far.
He's going to talk about the mystery of a woman.
But we didn't have access to that. And I really do think it changes the way these teenagers' brains are computerized.
You don't think that. You know that. It's been proven.
Yeah. So that's I don't think it's healthy. Not to be a stick in the mud.
Interesting that you'd bring that up.
Let's veer off that subject and let's go to something else. All right, what was your initial thought?
I mean, we're just on the cusp of it, but definitely very concerned about AI.
A little bit
concerned about AI. Not besides the ever-present fear of drones and robots coming over across the world to come take us on. The other thing that concerns me is I feel like it's just making people so lazy. And I just, the things I hear people talk about using AI for, it's like, come on, man. Like, A, use your brain. B, just take 30 seconds to do it yourself. I just think that the atrophy, because we see it ourselves.
It's already happening with the internet.
Well, and it already happens with like directions.
Oh, nobody knows how to get anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
But you just plug in and whatever that map on your phone's telling you to do, that's what you're going to do. And it just made us so lazy.
But that's okay because it also gets us to the place where we're trying to get to.
It does, man.
It's like, why do these kids today, sorry, I'm going to be this guy because why does my son really need to learn how to multiply? It's on his phone. If he needs to know what 111 times 37 is, it's right there.
Okay, so
I know it's to be the deductive reasoning and problem solving skills.
Yes.
But that ship has sailed. At least for Brady Clark, it has.
Corey wants the answer is into stupidity as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's right.
I would untether all of us from the phone.
Yeah, that's impossible though. But yes, that has been a detriment
from our phone. I think it's the overwhelming evidence is not good. And I hate that my kids and any of your kids out there, if they're of a certain age, will never know what it is to be free. And we benefited greatly from a time before cell phones in that nobody could know where you were if you didn't want them to. You could get into a car and drive to the beach, in my case, or go to a record store, and nobody could reach you. And you could say, well, Jeff, you just leave your car, your phone in the car. No, you can still be reached, and let's not be foolish. Your email is on your phone, texts on your phone, the ability to call is on your phone, the internet is on your phone. People do not untether themselves from their phone in a way that we had the opportunity to do. Hours and hours and hours on end. When I turned 16, I got in my car and drove to St. Pete Beach to meet a girl, and we spent the afternoon just like wandering the beach. And
man, your parents must have loved that.
No, so screw them.
Yeah, I was just thinking back to the times when my dad had to track me down in the middle of the night,
guys.
And they didn't know any better. And
but
so
there are no serial killers anymore. The phone gets rid of serial killers because
there's no trade-off.
There's more mass shootings, but there are no serial killers because you can't get past the cell phone data.
Yeah,
it's
except
impossible.
for there are cameras on every corner.
But
so
that
you need the phones.
So that's what. But I'm saying there are good things about cell phones and
all of
bad
this stuff,
things.
even social media, all of it. There's good, there's bad. You just got to take some accountability. How you use it.
I would untether us from the phone, and just so our kids could see what it was like real freedom.
You didn't say anything about you didn't chime in about the porn though.
I'm going to text you right now to tell you to
pipe down about the phone.
Pipe down. Yeah. Go to
hey, look, no, I'm better than most of the phone. My wife gets mad at me. She's like, "Do you ever check your phone?" I'm like, "No, I don't. Don't check it." Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with thunderstorms likely. Daytime highs approaching 87. South winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 73. Chance for storms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 87. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 88.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch a Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass. Oh, but I just wanted to feel it. Excuse me? I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn. For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567. Stay off my lawn.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Brad wants to know what's the status of Micah Danzy's injury.
I mean, from what it sounded like, it didn't sound like it was too serious. So, yeah, at the end of track season, he was going to the Nationals. He was probably the favorite to win the 400 and ended up having to pull out because of a minor training injury. I haven't heard anything else. I think it was a minor. Listen, the difference between an injury that keeps you out of running the 400 versus being ready to play football and could be totally different. So I don't think there's anything.
100%. It is like those track guys. Like if there's a tweak, you stop.
Yeah, they're amazing. If we have 2022's offensive line, what was FSU's record last year?
It's hard to say because I don't know if even with that offensive line, if they would have been decent without a mobile quarterback. You know, I mean, I just don't.
Well, they had a mobile quarterback the last 8 games ish.
No, I'm saying last year's.
Yeah. Once DJ got hurt, you had a mobile ish quarterback. I would say, give me the Duke win. Maybe you still turn it over 3 straight plays.
That's tough. I don't know.
I mean,
maybe 4 wins.
I feel like a lot of things went poorly once because of the first 2 games. That's why they lost to Memphis. You know, I feel like if you could have found some confidence in the BC game, there's no way you lose to Memphis. And the Memphis game was there.
You beat Georgia Tech with a better offensive line. I mean, you had that one good drive, and then everything else was a teeth pull to get any points at all.
The Memphis game bothers me almost more than any game during the year, which is hard to imagine because I was at the Notre Dame game. But I would just say that they get what is it, 6 yards on the first play running the ball, and then they fumble the ball and they never go back to running downhill. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pissed me off. That's what I say, where Mike just lost his mind last year. I mean, there was overwhelming evidence they could have just run the ball against that soft-ass Memphis defense. That Memphis defense ends up giving like 55 points up to Navy. They sucked.
And Memphis' offensive line looked like they didn't want to be there.
No, that team wasn't any good.
And who was there to tell Mike like what to do? Nobody. Like now, obviously he doesn't run the offense anymore anyway, but now he just didn't have anybody in his ear. He didn't have anybody's ear to say, this is dumb, man. We need to start running the ball. We need to keep running the ball. And now Malzahn is the guy. But Malzahn will have somebody in his ear if he's doing dumb stuff. Not that I think he's going to be doing a lot of dumb stuff, but, Mike Norvell will be like, no, we're not doing this. So I feel like there's a better balance there.
John says or asks, have any of you watched the Bowden Show on Netflix? And if so, what were your thoughts?
What Bowden Show?
I didn't know there was a Bowden Show on Netflix. Is there?
I don't know.
Corey, you would normally know. You would know.
Like a show on which Bowden?
Well, I don't think they're doing one on Jeff. I mean, I'm sure
they should.
Hey, let's do a show on Terry.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I didn't know. I'll look up a Bowden show.
They just sit down with Jeff and they're like, what happened?
Man, there's no way we wouldn't know. Yeah.
So what happened?
It's an hour of just, the world wants to know, Jeff. They're all thinking about you.
Was the rain really that big of a problem?
The Rainbow offense was settled because of the rain. Oh, my goodness. Are you looking it up?
I'm trying to, yeah.
I haven't seen it. Okay, here you go. Ira, fire away. What does the On3 Rivals merger mean to us as fans?
Well, if you were a member of a rival site before, you now have a membership to On3, and you can read Warchant content. So that's a plus for you. Also, Rivals now is going to be the brand for recruiting. So instead of On3, like the big recruiting guys that On3 has, Chad Simmons, Steve Wilfong, those guys, now they're going to be under the Rivals brand, but you'll be able to read their content on On3. It's just a partnership. They're going to handle all the recruiting side. We'll handle the team coverage. And if you had a subscription to Rivals, now you have a subscription to On3.
What's the answer, Corey?
Keep going. Next question. I'm going to try to find it.
I think it doesn't exist.
It looks like it does exist, and it was released on May 29th. But I can't find it.
Nobody talk about this.
James B in the chat says it's the Bowden Dynasty one that's been around for years.
Oh, we've already
maybe they just
made its way over to Netflix.
Possibly.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean,
I don't think it's a new endeavor.
We would have already kind of known about it. I know, Corey, you would have seen it.
Yeah.
So no, that's it.
I saw the Liver King documentary. That's on
it was
Netflix.
unwatchable.
Yeah.
I hated it. It was so stupid,
It
and
was.
he was an idiot. I'm glad he's dead.
He's not dead.
Isn't he dead?
No,
I
just
thought
got
he died.
arrested.
Oh well, he should die. It's a ridiculous show, and he's a ridiculous human
He is
being.
definitely a ridiculous human being.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the Alabama question, which is who do we expect to start at quarterback? Isn't it the it's there's the thought that Ty Simpson kid is going to start.
That's the most people think. I think
because the other kid is Austin Mack. And I think the Ty Simpson is who's going to start.
And he's a true freshman, or he's a redshirt freshman.
He's a redshirt.
I don't think he's a freshman.
Maybe a redshirt sophomore or something.
Yeah,
but
he's never played.
He hasn't really played.
I mean, again, man, this is kind of if you have to play Alabama, you have a guy that started 20-something games at quarterback. They have a guy that's never started at quarterback. You're at home. You have a defense he's never seen. There are some advantages here.
I think the advantage is playing in the first game of the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He'll be able to hide.
But also,
behind
he
a good
might not be
offensive
any good. Like their last quarterback wasn't very good. There is a chance that Alabama doesn't have a good quarterback, and he's a good He's going to be maybe not a good quarterback that's also inexperienced. That's a good formula.
He's got 50 career attempts.
Yeah, so he's never
14
played.
for 25 last year, 56% last year, 55% the year before.
Yeah, but 14 to 25 doesn't
11
matter.
of 20 the year before.
Yeah.
And average like 6, 7, 8 yards completion. So yeah,
he might be awesome. He might end up being great, but odds are he isn't because he couldn't unseat Milroe. And Milroe wasn't great. So the point being, he hasn't proven anything. Like he might be good. He might just kind of be butt average.
Yeah, well, and it's his first start on the road like that. Yeah, it would be nice to see him have a meltdown. Of the three great
other schools are allowed to have meltdown games.
It can happen. Of these three great Noles, whose career will you admire the most and why? Travis J, Cam Leiter.
Okay, it went a different direction.
Destin Hill. I'm going to say Destin Hill.
Yeah, there's a chance he's going to be something at LSU.
Well,
that's going to be a
pisses
bummer.
me off. He's still not here. I think he would have been a good player.
But that one's nobody's fault.
No,
Florida State did everything they could do to give him every opportunity to play at Florida State. And he leaves after last season. And weird thing about it was like during last season, I thought he was a good teammate, even though he was injured. Anyway, whatever. We'll see. I have nothing against him. I have a soft spot in my heart for Travis Jay.
We all do.
We all do. So
just a bad timing. Just a bad timing for him to come along.
He lost all confidence, and he was too talented to be that bad.
But he had a coaching staff that didn't really know what to do with him.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have been an offensive player. Like he had a coaching staff that completely had no clue what to do with him, and then it just didn't work out.
Didn't he have a catch?
I know he had a crazy interception.
I thought he had a catch on offense at one point.
Yeah.
Would you rather, writes Richard, go 8-4 with 4 close losses, or 9-3 with the 3 losses being blowouts? It's actually not a bad question.
It's not a bad question. At the end of the day, though, 9-3 gets you closer to Charlotte. It's a better season, and you get to 10 wins with a bowl. Like a blowout, a loss isn't always a loss, though. You're right.
I would say I think it's like 2 different ways you look at it.
That means you're being blown out by either Miami or Florida or both.
Yeah, I think if you walk away from 8-4 with 4 close losses, you can convince yourself
you're really close.
You're very close.
Yeah.
If you go 9-3, you only win 1 of those big 4 games, get blown out in the other 3.
You're not close.
You're not believing that you're close. So on paper it looks better, but I think you'd probably prefer the other one.
Yeah, I agree. Gentlemen, not a lot of talk about James Williams, upside and downside for him. Well, Clint, I hope you go back and watch my interview with James Williams. It was a good one.
And keep paying attention to the top 40.
Yeah.
Which keeps being released.
And Tom and I just did a breakdown of the defensive line where we talked about James Williams.
You've got a lot of James Williams content to go through, buddy.
Yeah, the upsides and downsides. I mean, I think there's no doubt he should be a pretty high-level pass rusher.
Agreed.
The effort is going to be much better than we saw at the defensive end position. I think it's fair to say.
It is probably fair
last
to say,
season.
Yes, correct.
The question or the downside is we don't know if he can stop anybody running right at him.
But I asked him that specific question, and he's gained a lot of weight, and he talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's 260-something.
He's way above where he was. I mean, he came in at like 245, 250, and I think he said 267 is what he told me, almost 270.
And he is one of the most pivotal players on the team.
Well, he has to be good for them to be good.
Yes, correct.
Defensively.
Yeah. I mean, he has a chance to turn the defense around. You one player, especially at that position, can make an impact where you're like, well, he might be an extra 2 wins on the roster, on the schedule if he's that good. If he's an NFL second-day pick, that's an extra win and a half, 2 wins, as opposed to
they're worried about
nonsensical, just non-productive defensive ends.
Yeah, yes, you'd prefer one over the other. There's no doubt. We have a question about if they ran a 3-4. They're not, but they may run, some of that. Who would the 3-down lineman be? And obviously, you'd start at nose tackle, and we're going to look right at that. The guy that also has to be great, Corey.
Yeah, Darryl Jackson.
Darryl Jackson has to be great for them to operate in any defense.
Yeah, I think Darryl Jackson and James Williams are going to be your 2 starters going into the fall.
Dare I say a bell cows?
I mean,
they're going to be your bell cows.
I wonder how much they expect Kevin Wynn to play. I know he's a freshman, but he's huge.
If he gets in the mix, I think you're happy, but I wouldn't think he's one of the top 2 or
No, Daniel Lyons would be in that grouping if you were going to.
Yeah, I mean.
The McCray kid.
Deontay McCray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that other end position is a question mark, but they've got a lot of guys. Deontay McCray, Diamante Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
They've got guys that, Amari Williams.
Well, he's going to rush out the edge. Yeah, Hester is another guy that they kind of want to see.
He's gone. He's gone.
He's not going to do that.
Nope.
But he's not going to do it here.
He's
not in the program.
I'm not thinking of Hester. I'm not thinking of Aaron.
Are you thinking of Byron Turner Overdrive?
He's gone too.
Chris Casher. Who are you thinking of? I'm thinking of guys that never really panned out here.
No,
they've got a group of guys.
I thought there was another end that they were excited about. No, I guess not.
I mean, Amari Williams could be the guy.
We're worried about the depth of this team for a reason. I mean, I
well, they wanted the kid from Tennessee to be that guy,
and
he's out for the year. Well, we don't know that.
We don't know that he's out, but he's probably not going to be at full speed. You wouldn't think by Alabama. But maybe it'll be full speed by Clemson.
I'll predict he's not going to be full speed by Alabama. All right, boys, say goodbye.
Peace. Peace and love. Stay off the phone.
Everybody. There you go. Stay off the phone is right. Listen to hour number 3, forthcoming Power Hour. Hang in.